When the sheriff's cruiser rolled past the white church at the edge of Magnolia County, I knew they were coming for me. The choir inside had just started singing Blessed Assurance, and for the first time in 20 years, I couldn't make myself go in. My name is Martha Collins, and once upon a time, this church was my world. Sunday potlucks, quilt circles, and Wednesday prayers. I built my life around those walls. Until the day everything changed. It started 15 years ago, the summer my husband Daniel died of a heart attack in our kitchen. The funeral brought the whole town casseroles, condolences, and hollow words. But it was the quiet knock at the back door that stayed with me. A woman stood there, Tanya Brooks, the nurse who'd been with Daniel in his final hours. She was holding a small box. "He asked me to give this to you," she said softly. Said it was for forgiveness. Inside was Daniel's wedding ring and a letter. It was a confession. He'd had an affair with Tanya. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just closed the door and locked it. For years, I hated her in silence. Every time I saw Tanya in town volunteering at the food drive, playing piano at the nursing home, I turned away. The sight of her made my hands tremble with fury. But when the flood came 2 summers ago, everything shifted. The river rose overnight, swallowing fields, homes, and streets. I barely made it to the roof with my old dog, Jasper, before the water surrounded us. Hours later, a rescue boat appeared and the person rowing it was Tanya Brooks. She didn't say a word when she saw me, just reached out her hand. After that day, she kept showing up, fixing things around my house, bringing groceries, helping me sort Daniel's old papers when my arthritis flared. I didn't understand why she bothered. Maybe she was trying to pay for her sin. Maybe she just couldn't let the past go. And then came her daughter, Leela, a shy 12-year-old with the same dimples Daniel used to have when he smiled. It was impossible not to notice. One afternoon, Leela came to my porch with a jar of wildflowers and said, "Mama says you used to make the best peach cobbler in town. Will you teach me?" I wanted to say no, but instead, I found myself nodding. Week after week, Leela came by. We baked, talked, laughed. Slowly, the edges of my bitterness softened. Then last winter, Tanya got sick, lung cancer. The hospital bills drained her savings, and when her trailer's roof collapsed in a storm, she and Leela had nowhere to go. I told myself it wasn't my problem, until I saw them sleeping in their car outside the gas station. That night, I opened my door. "There's a spare room," I said, "just until you get back on your feet." She hesitated, eyes full of shame. "Martha, after everything I said, "we've both suffered enough. For months, we lived side by side, 2 women linked by guilt and grief. Some nights we'd sit at the kitchen table in silence, the ghosts of our past between us. And when Tanya's coughing grew worse, I became her caretaker. The morning she died, she reached for my hand. "You were right to hate me," she whispered, "but thank you for letting Leela know what love feels like." At the funeral, only a handful of people came. Leela clutched my arm, sobbing. I promised her she'd never be alone again. Now, years later, the sheriff's cruiser has come because Tanya's will named me Leela's legal guardian. Her relatives want custody. They say I have no right to raise her kind, but when the sheriff steps out, Leela runs from the porch and hides behind me, her tiny fingers gripping my dress. "Ma'am," he says gently, "we just need to talk." I lift my chin. "You can talk all you want, Sheriff, but that child stays with me." He studies me for a long moment, then tips his hat. "You're a stubborn woman, Miss Collins. I've been called worse." That night, as the crickets hum and Leela sleeps inside, I sit on the porch watching the fireflies. The bitterness that once filled my life has burned itself away, replaced by something harder to name, something like grace. Daniel's ring still sits on my nightstand. I used to see it as a symbol of betrayal. Now I see it for what it really is, a reminder that forgiveness isn't weakness, it's survival. And maybe, just maybe, love doesn't die. It just learns to take a different shape. 2 women bound by betrayal, 1 child born of it, and the quiet redemption that saved them all.